What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the future of Spider-Man and Spider-Man Far From Home. So, it is looking like Spider-Man Far From Home will be one of the first Spider-Man movies, in fact, the first Spider-Man movie to make 1 billion, and it'll be Sony's second movie to gross over $1 billion if it does as Skyfall, yes, a James Bond movie, made 1.1 billion, just about. Yes, it wasn't made by them, it was produced by them. It was distributed by Sony Pictures. Obviously, the production company were Eon Productions and Columbia Pictures, so pretty much a Sony movie. So it's interesting, there's some reports saying that it's going to be Sony's first billion-dollar movie. No, that's factually incorrect, but it does look like it's going to hit 1 billion. So there's been a lot of talk this week about Spider-Man 3 from Amy Pascal, and also from Kevin Feige, who has been tight-lipped about what is coming up in Spider-Man 3. So I think I have an exclusive for you guys, a world exclusive that I cannot confirm or verify, but this has got to be the Spider-Man 3 title. So guys, let me know down below, what would you call Spider-Man 3? So before Spider-Man Far From Home came out, I was happy to call this movie Spider-Man Graduation. But there is a theme: Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home. And careful for spoilers, if you haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home yet, I'm about to ruin your life. Spider-Man 3 is going to be called Spider-Man Homeless. Confirmed, revealed. Do you agree? You got to think about it, because the way the movie ends, he's exposed. MJ looks at him like he's just killed Mysterio when he didn't. We've given spoiler warnings, so do not come at me, bros. So Spider-Man Homeless would be a really fitting title. Now, Sony producer Amy Pascal has recently commented on this movie, and so has Kevin Feige, and it's very, very interesting. So if you are new to the channel, guys, make sure to subscribe to never miss any videos. We are currently giving away Captain Marvel on Blu-ray or DVD, as some people in the comment section from yesterday's video told me that DVDs are still around. So yeah, we could give that away. Or the 4K Ultra HD version. All you gotta do is subscribe to the channel and let me know down below why should you win and what are you looking forward to in the Spider-Verse, which is the Sonyverse, which is really the MCU in a way. So, Amy Pascal recently said this: you know, I don't think we're ready to tell anybody yet, but yes, of course, there are so many stories that you can tell about Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I think the multiverse and the Spider-Verse has opened up unlimited possibilities for us. Now, this is a very interesting subject because Into Spider-Verse, yes, the multiverse was a lie. Mysterio wasn't actually from the multiverse. We found out this in a flashback scene with the bath technology, where Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, robbed the bath technology from Mysterio and fired his ass. Yes, the multiverse does exist in the MCU. The Ancient One has shown us this. We've got the Dark Dimension, we've got the Astral Planes, which really isn't part of the multiverse, and we have stuff like the Quantum Realm. So yes, there is a multiverse, but we've seen this a long time ago and it didn't actually feature in Spider-Man Far From Home. I think that's a great thing about Stan Lee and Steve did, is they gave us the characters that can be reinterpreted. It's a 1962. It's a long time for something to remain fresh and yet be able to. I think that's just like all artists who did all various covers. Amazing, Ultimate, everything has been reinterpreted. These kinds of classical characters were able to do, which is very interesting. Then Kevin Feige teased something even more interesting that made me thought maybe they're going to say something at San Diego Comic-Con, because for the Marvel panel, it says with special guests. Now, as we know, my girl Amy Pascal is now over at Universal, but she has promised the fans that she's still in control of Spider-Man. You can work for more than one company at the same time. Trust me, a lot of people do that. So what would be interesting is if Amy Pascal walks out on stage with Kevin Feige and they're like, Spider-Man 3 is called Spider-Man Homeless. You know, that would be pretty funny, but it would be fitting. So I really hope they stick to their guns and they did expose Spider-Man, and they're not just going to cover it up with either Sword, which is the new Shield in theory, or just Shield would cover it up and say it was a lie, because quite frankly, most of the ramifications for Spider-Man usually get brushed under the rug. So Kevin Feige promises a Peter Parker story that has never, ever, you'll get that reference. If you get it, let me know. Never been done before on film. In a Spider-Man Far From Home sequel. So he's basically saying, he could have worded this a lot better. He didn't say it's never, ever been done in a Spider-Man movie. He says never been done before on a film in the Spider-Man Far From Home sequel. So that's not really teasing much. The Spider-Man Far From Home sequel would go to places no Spider-Man movie has ever gone before, promises Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige major spoilers coming up, guys. So this is interesting. So you just got to think of everything they've ever done. So everyone was thinking Norman Osborn. Did they film the scene? Did they not? We don't know, because like I've not physically seen it and I cannot believe it until we physically see it. So does this debunk the whole kind of Sinister Six stuff? Because let's be honest, we've seen Dr. Octopus, we've seen all the Sinister Six, we've seen Green Goblin before, but does that debunk everything? Then he went on to say this. I think so. Feige told Fandango.com, when asked if Peter Parker's Tom Holland's secret identity being exposed by the Daily Bugle, played by Jay Jemison, J.K. Simmons in Far From Home, mid-credit scene will be a major storyline going forward. Much like the end of Iron Man saying, okay, the rules have changed, which now means we are going to have to do something completely different next time. So that is an official spoiler that maybe his identity is really going to be exposed. Unlike Marvel Studios' first blockbuster, which ended with Tony Stark, aka Robert Downey Jr., publicly declaring I am Iron Man, Peter's carefully guarded secret identity was blown through the efforts of fraudster Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who absolutely killed it, and his ex-Stark employees, there were a bunch of them. It's interesting, because it's interesting how Ned was the only person, and obviously Aunt May were the only people who knew Spider-Man. Like Flash, one of his friends who's an absolute fanboy, didn't even know. And now the whole world knows. So it's going to be very, very interesting. While some storylines have played out in the comic books, Feige promises everything's different for our hero moving forward. Now, this is interesting, as he did say post EndGame, everything will be different, and it sounds like for once Feige was not lying. This is a very interesting story, and Spider-Man homeless is gonna be really cool. So let's call it, guys, hashtag down below, Spider-Man homeless villain is this. So it went on to say, that's how and then when specifics can change and evolve, but setting yourself up for something that has never been done before. At the end of Iron Man, it was a hero public outing himself, so that in the next movie and all the subconscious movies, we couldn't fall back onto the secret identity trope, which had been a part of Iron Man stories for decades in the comics, Feige said. So it's very interesting. It makes me believe that everyone's going to know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and is this a secret way to introduce Miles Morales and have a new Spider-Man come in, because then no one knows who Miles Morales is? But everyone's already played like Spider-Man PS4 or read the comics, so most people know who he is. But we're talking about people inside the movie, not people outside the movie. So also in the news, in a recent interview with Uproar about Spider-Man Far From Home with director John Watt, he's potentially revealed who the villain for the next movie is going to be. And if it's freaking real, that's cool, because Black Panther 2 wanted this villain, but they couldn't get access to it. So John Watts revealed that he might have plans to bring Kraven the Hunter to life in the next film, possibly adapting the iconic storyline Attempt to Kill Peter Parker. Another movie of someone attempting to kill Peter Parker. See, let's be honest, guys. No one's really tried to kill Peter Parker. Mysterio didn't really try to kill Peter Parker. Vulture, Scorpio, they didn't really try to kill him. They were just trying to stop him from interrupting their plans. So no one's really tried to kill Peter Parker. Oh, I would love Kraven. It's just the trick of how do you do a Kraven in a movie? What's said? Though his latest film just provided the perfect setup to introduce the villain. Why? Because he's been exposed, so everyone knows who Peter Parker is. Spider-Man, everyone knows who Spider-Man is. So does that mean every single villain is going to come? And does that mean Kraven's going to be part of the Sinister Six? So after Spider-Man battles with Mysterio result in his identity being revealed to the world, lots of villains will be gunning for him, because he's put a lot of villains away in theory. You might even say they're on the hunt, if you catch my drift. And it would also be insane into a decent role for the Sinister Six, as Kraven set them up to weave his foe, while Spider-Man is at the most vulnerable state before he moves in to make his kill for himself. Interesting, but they're not going to kill Spider-Man off, let's be honest. But I hope if Amy Pascal does attend San Diego Comic-Con, that they say, yeah, we've got a 5-year deal, and there's going to be a bunch of new Spider-Man movies, it's going to be freaking cool, and Tobey Maguire's going to come, and Andrew Garfield's going to cameo role, we can only dream. Yeah, we could. So, let's divulge even more. I mean, yeah, I always just try to start with what haven't we seen before. There are so many Spider-Man villains, what's explained. I mean, the fact that I got to, in a way, bring Hydra Man and Mortal Man to the movie, really, I get a kick out of that, even though you don't really see them that much. It was pretty fantastic seeing them. Even if they are fake, But no, I don't know what's next. I always like to think about it in terms of what's going to be the most difficult thing for Peter. So that's going to be the next trick. So what's interesting here is the director seems to know nothing, really. Then he's like, yeah, I want Kraven the Hunter. And then Feige's like, yeah, you know what's coming next. It's going to be something we've never, ever seen before. And then Amy Pascal's like, yeah, we're not ready to say anything. Because you got to understand, yes, this movie is made by the MCU, it's made by Marvel, but it's distributed by Sony and Columbia Pictures. Sony will financially gain from this. Marvel will only financially gain from merchandise sales, etc. So it's still a Sony-based movie. And also in the news, something's really cool. So obviously, if you are a Spider-Man fan, you would know, obviously, in Spider-Man PS4, Kingpin is involved, and obviously the Netflix Daredevil show where Vincent, I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name, he wants to reprise his role as Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, in the Spider-Man movie. The Avengers in babysitting said he thinks that would be astonishing, so he is game for it. We sadly didn't get to see him go full-blown Kingpin because Netflix cancelled Daredevil for no freaking reason, though it seems like nothing. But hopefully fans like me want Spider-Man to go up against Kingpin one day in an organic way. The character could be introduced to the movies as a side role in the MCU. I really think that character would be pretty insane. The only issue is if you compared the kind of the violence level in Spider-Man Far From Home to Daredevil Season 3, then Spider-Man's like PG and Daredevil's like an 18. There really is a crazy intense difference. So he's most known for his arch nemesis being Daredevil, hence why that storyline played out in the Netflix show. The character first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 50 in 1963. Vincent said not only does he want the show up on the screen with Tom Holland and Peter Parker, Vincent himself said Charlie Cox mentioned at one point last year that he'd love to do something with Spider-Man. So it would be freaking insane if you could get Charlie Cox's version of Daredevil and Vincent's version of Kingpin in some capacity with Tom Holland in a Spider-Man maybe movie, but as we know, they have the Disney streaming service, so I wouldn't be surprised if Disney, Marvel, Sony, I don't actually know who owns the TV rights to the character. It would be very interesting if you could get a capacity version of Tom Holland and all these characters in some variation of a show on the streaming service. I know there's the 2-year cooling-off period, so Marvel can't actually use Kingpin or actually use Daredevil, but in theory, 2-year, if they don't shoot the movie, or at least if the movie doesn't come out to 2021, then in theory, they could both appear. So also, this was said, I have to be really careful, Charlie Cox explained in an interview earlier this year. I mean, I'm sure I can say this, and I'll just preface it by saying, I can't see how this would happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I have no information to suggest that this would ever happen, but it'd be really cool to see. I'd love to do something with Spider-Man. So that is telling me unofficially that Charlie Cox knows something will happen in the future. If they do bring Daredevil to the MCU or the Marvel Universe without it being Charlie Cox, it would be a shame. And also Kingpin has to be played by Vincent. I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name, but them two characters would be freaking insane. So guys, let me know. Is Spider-Man 3 going to be insane? Spider-Man Homeless, I mean, because that's what I'm calling it for now. I think I've got the world exclusive on that. So, guys, please credit me if you're going to say Spider-Man Homeless. No, I'm only joking, but I think that would be pretty cool. So, Kraven the Hunter could potentially come. It sounds like we're going to have a bunch of craziness in Spider-Man 3 that no one has seen before, unless my boy Kevin Feige is lying again. And it would be so freaking cool if they brought Tom Holland out, they brought Amy Pascal out, Kevin Feige introduced them. Yep, Spider-Man 3, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that. And then boom, you get the Norman Osborn, Oscorp, Avengers Tower purchase, boom, in front of your face, and that's why they cut it out of the movie. That would be absolutely insane. Anyway, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. That would be freaking insane. If you got any video requests or anything like that, just DM me on Instagram at Warstu or Twitter at WWarstu, or shoot me an email. It's somewhere in the description box. Any requested videos, just shoot me a message and let me know, and I'll try and see what I can do. I am going to start talking a lot of DC stuff, a lot of other pop culture stuff in the coming days and weeks, as I want to diverse into different things. But don't worry, guys, I will still mainly be based around the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So like always, guys, I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.